Mimi naitwa Aquila sana yele Mako. Ninaishi Namanga. Wakati wa games tukikaa tu hapo na wanafunzi wenzangu tukicheza, nikaanza kusikia vizuri. Nikamweleza mama. Sasa mama akaniambia mbona ukusemanga? Nikamwambia niliogopa. Nikaenda Namanga hospital nikapima, akaona ugonjwa niko nayo. Sasa akasema heri upelekwe Kajiado. Madaktari akakuja kunitibu. Akasema Manda akaniambia utaenda kwa surgery. Walisema iko na growth. Nilienda kushughulikia hadi akaenda kutafuta NHF mama tu anakuanga nayo, lakini ugonjwa mwenye nilitibiwa hiyo kadi ilinisaidia sana. Hiyo kama tungekuwa nayo sijui tungetoka hapo lini. Ningependa kuambia serikali waendelee kutuletea hiyo kadi ya NHF kwa maana inatusaidia sana. Kila mtu ajitahidi na jikaze kisabuni ili waweze kudhibitisha na wapate hiyo ndio waweze na mtu akigonjeka juu siku yako kugonjeka na wewe upate hiyo kadi ndio ukipelekwa hospital uweze kutibiwa.
Linda familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
Kupitia uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali imetekeleza miradi kadhaa ya ujenzi wa nyumba za bei nafuu kwa manufaa ya Wakenya. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254.
I have said it before, but I'll say it again. Kenyans made it clear that they want to live in decent homes.
Rais Uhuru Kenyatta amejali mtu wa chini sana, kwa sababu nyumba kama hizi ukienda ununue hata uwanja yako uanze kujenga itakukosti hata sana.
Siku hizi tunakaa makao mazuri, tunakaa nyumba nzuri. Zamani hatukuwa na choo, tulikuwa na tupa, lakini siku hizi hatutupi.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for creating time for Prime Edition tonight. We got a lot lined up for you in our comprehensive news bulletin. As we continue to trace the road to the 2022 general election, we will be telling you what the Kenya Kwanza Alliance was doing and also the Azimio la Umoja team who were in Makueni County today. We got that and much more contained right in our broadcast.
And speaking about it, the Jubilee Party has changed from red, yellow and black to just red and white. And we'll be speaking to the Secretary Jubilee Coalition, that is Adan Keynan, who is a member of Parliament for Eldas, talking about the upcoming NDC, that is the end of this month, and what is in their calendar. But most importantly, again, today somebody has gotten a new lease of life, the governor for Wajir, that is where Adan from. So we'll get his reaction as regards his reinstatement by the court, saying that his impeachment was unprocedural. We have all those details lined up for you in this bulletin. Welcome.
All right, let's begin with the top stories tonight, and then we kickstart this bulletin right away. So let us take you through the top stories on Prime Edition. Relief for parents as Education CS orders the school heads to recall learners are sent home over school fee arrears.
Come back. Mohammed Abdi Mohamud reinstated as Wajir governor.
And in politics, 2022 campaigns intensify as Kenya Kwanza troops to Mount Kenya and Azimio woos voters in Makueni. All right, welcome to this broadcast. Lucy Maura is our sign language interpreter. My name is Serfine Achieng Oma.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. We start off with a top story tonight. Isaac Ibrahim Robo, the driver of the two Cuban doctors who were kidnapped in 2019, has been found guilty of committing a terrorist act.
The court found that the driver was actively involved in the kidnapping and abetting a terrorist act.
Rabao will be detained awaiting sentencing on the 2nd of March 2022.
Isaac Ibrahim Robo, who was the driver of the two Cuban doctors, Aisel Herrera Correa and Landy Rodriguez Hernandez, were kidnapped by Al-Shabaab militants in 2018 in Mandera County and later released in October 2021 after a period of negotiations, has been found guilty of committing a terrorist act. Robo, who chauffeured the two doctors, had been charged on 5 counts, including commission of a terrorist act, kidnapping and hostage obtaining registration by false pretense and being unlawfully in Kenya.
Get the other victims.
In a judgment by Milimani magistrate Martha Nanzushi, she said there was clear evidence that the driver was actively involved in the commissioning of a terrorist act, kidnapping and abetting a terrorist act. The evidence presented by ATPU stated that upon intensive interrogation, the driver confessed to have conspired with the terrorists in the kidnapping of the two Cuban doctors. He was also found to be using 2 mobile phone numbers to communicate with the terrorists. Meanwhile, Michael Karanja Kamau, alias Michael Kimani Njoroge, has been charged for obtaining money by false pretense and impersonation. It's alleged that on divorce dates between 5th August and 2nd September 2021 in Nairobi, with intent to defraud, obtained 6.5 million shillings from Paul Weganjo Njoroge by falsely pretending to sell him a parcel of land in Rai and pretending to be Francis Kimani Njoroge. Kamau pleaded not guilty and was granted a bond of 2 million shillings and a cash bill of 1 million shillings with 2 contact persons. Finally, petitioners opposed to the controversial leasing of Mumias Sugar Company led by Senior Counsel Paul Moita claim the process was a well-executed 30 billion shillings fraud executed by the administrator. Appearing before Justice Alfred Mabea, Moita faulted the Mumias Sugar Company administrator Rao Ramana for claiming that West Kenya Sugar Company, which had bid 36 billion shillings, lacked capacity to manage the debt-ridden sugar mill. Serfine Nairobi for Prime Edition.
And the High Court today, of course, has overturned the decision by the Senate to uphold the impeachment of the governor for Wajir. The Member of Parliament for Eldas, Adan Keynan, is with us in studio. Definitely, when we get to talk to him, we'll get his reaction as regards the reinstatement of Governor Mahmoud as the governor for Wajir County. But moving on, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has directed all school principals to recall all students who were sent home over fee arrears. Speaking in Nyeri County, the CS said the ministry will be conducting an audit in all schools to ensure that all children are in for the national examinations, warning that no student should be disenfranchised because of fee arrears.
Professor Magoha, who was in Nyeri County to commission junior secondary classrooms at Labura Mixed Secondary School in Kieni West Sub-County, warned the school heads against sending learners away over fee arrears.
I want to plead to our head teachers to please return all children whom they sent home for school fee balance. The exams are just a few weeks away. The government of the Republic of Kenya has already paid examination fees for all these children, both in public and private schools.
The CS noting that the first phase of the construction of classrooms for the competency-based curriculum is complete.
Remembering that we started from 6,400, we have completed 2,000, we have commissioned over 250, and work is going on. My first strong message is to the contractors, who are basically the youth at large and mainly near the schools, which are scattered all over. But I'm very proud to be a Kenyan because of the way they have conducted themselves. The quality of work is very good. The cost is as per the schedule. And I want to reaffirm to them that we shall ensure that they are paid as quickly as possible.
90% of books required for grade 6 have already been distributed, with the remaining 10% expected to be dispatched by next week.
The books for grade 6 have been distributed close to 90%. They will be 100% next week.
According to the Ministry of Education examination timetable, the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination will commence on 7th March 2022 to 10th March 2022, with candidates for the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination expected to write the exams between 11th March 2022 and 1st April 2022. Away from education, President Uhuru Kenyatta has assured global investors that Kenya is open and safe for business. Speaking when he launched celebrations to mark the Kenya National Day at the Expo 2020 Dubai, President Kenyatta said his administration has put in place a legal framework for investment that provides adequate investor protection in line with most international standards, including safeguards for property rights.
President Uhuru Kenyatta says Kenya enjoys political and economic stability, is a fully liberalized economy, a large domestic consumer market, a youthful, skilled and productive labor force, as well as a modern infrastructure network, attributes which make Kenya the location of choice for multinational companies and a leading destination for foreign direct investment in the region.
That Kenya is open, that Kenya is safe, that Kenya looks forward to your business, to your partnership. The legal framework for investment provides adequate investor protection in line with most international standards, including safeguards to property rights.
President Kenyatta said Kenya is keen to build new trade relationships with the Gulf Cooperation Council states and other countries participating in the Expo 2020 Dubai, as well as attract new investment and bring tourists.
That we seek to expand trade with the Gulf Cooperation countries and the world.
He expressed confidence that as the largest economy and business hub with sufficient capacities in trade facilitation and logistics to service over 11 hinterland countries in the Eastern and Central Africa region, Kenya is in a strong position to expand its trade and economic horizon for the benefit of its people.
We are in a strong position to expand trade, and Kenya, without doubt, is the largest economy in Eastern Africa. It is the business hub for the region and has sufficient capacities in trade facilitation and logistics to serve over 11 hinterland countries in Eastern and Central Africa.
The UAE welcomed ongoing discussions to establish a new framework for cooperation on a wide range of areas such as food production, infrastructure, digitization and renewable energy.
A multitude of areas of priority to our two countries, including food production, infrastructure, digitization, and renewable energy, among many others.
Benson Ruba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, the trial of lawyer Paul Gicheru at the International Criminal Court, ICC, in The Hague entered the second day with defense lawyers poking holes into the testimony of the first prosecution witness. Gicheru's lawyer, Michael Canaves, questioned the motive behind the witness's recorded conversations, claiming he was coached before his allegations against Gicheru were tape-recorded by the prosecution team. Witness P800, whose face and voice were distorted for his protection, however, refuted the defense claims that he was coached.
A day after the first witness took to the stand to testify against lawyer Paul Gicheru, who is facing 8 crimes ranging from witness tampering to corruption before the International Criminal Court ICC in Hague, the defense lawyers tore into his testimony.
You told us yesterday you ticked up all these boxes. Please don't have amnesia now.
You've just told me also that there were so many pages.
Okay, all right, fair enough. My fault. You got me there.
During the cross-examination, Gicheru's lawyer Michael Canavas questioned the motive behind the witnesses' recorded conversations with the prosecution, saying it happened during a private meeting in 2014.
You had made contact with the OTP saying, hey, I want to come back into the fold. I want to be part of the organization again. Please take me back. And then they called you back and said, okay. And they had this conversation. And that was on 14 March 2014. And I have it right here. Does that ring a bell now?
Yes, I know. I made accepted to go back.
Okay.
Canavas further questioned details of the meeting and why the witness did not mention it until yesterday when the trial began.
If we want to go into private session, I have no problem in doing this entire trial in private session. But if the prosecution is going to bring this individual here, and this person is going to be giving speeches about how he was threatened and how this and how that, and I'm not able to let the public also know that this person is a first-class confabulator, then I think it's not a fair and open public trial.
According to Gicheru's lawyers, the witness was coached before his allegations against Gicheru were tape-recorded by the prosecution team.
So what we're going to do is record our interview with you. Answer? Yes. Let me pause. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Witness P800, whose face and voice were distorted for his protection, however refuted the defense claims that he was coached.
Keep referring me as a liar, even though it is his line of asking questions. I will request that the council respect my integrity, because if I was a liar, all the information that I brought to this court will not be here. But the information I brought to this court is of substance. That's why we are discussing about it today.
Prosecutors allege that Gicheru was among a group of conspirators that approached prosecution witnesses and offered them money to recount their evidence and withdraw from the case against Deputy President William Ruto and Joshua Sang. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
All right, that report from ICC takes us to our first break on Prime Edition, but we still have more lined up ahead for you. A very important conversation tonight, Kioria will be having later.
Obviously talking about the upcoming National Delegates Conference by the Jubilee Party, where they sever links officially with the Deputy President, and what, again, a declaration that probably Jubilee will be supporting Azimio. Is it a probability or is it a reality? Adan Keynan, the Secretary of the Jubilee Coalition and the Member of Parliament for Eldas in Wajir, as he does in studio, we'll be talking to him later. So keep the conversation going on Twitter, KBC Channel 1. And on Twitter, again, you can tag Honorable Adan Keynan. The Twitter account is verified as you tag him as we look forward to that conversation.
All right, on that note, we take a break. That's a conversation you do not want to miss. Still more lined up ahead for you. Stay with us.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Linda familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
The UHC coverage journey is on. NHIF is working under the guidance of the Ministry of Health in the UHC Step Up, which presents an opportunity to secure Kenyans access to quality health services without suffering financial hardship. So take the bold step today and safeguard your families by enrolling to NHIF to ensure health for all.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Aquila sana yele mako. Ninaishi Namanga. Wakati wa games tukikaa tu hapo na wanafunzi wenzangu tukicheza, nikaanza kusikia vizuri. Nikamweleza mama. Sasa mama akaniambia mbona ukusemanga? Nikamwambia niliogopa. Nikaenda na mama hospital, nikapima, akaona ugonjwa niko nayo. Sasa wakasema heri upelekwe Kajiado. Madaktari wakakuja kunitibu. Wakasema Manda wakaniambia utaenda kwa surgery. Walisema iko na growth. Nilienda kushughulikia hadi akaenda kutafuta NHIF juu mama tu anakuanga nayo, lakini ugonjwa mwenye nilitibiwa hiyo kadi ilinisaidia sana. Hiyo kama tungekuwa nayo sijui tungetoka hapo lini. Ningependa kuambia serikali waendelee kutuletea hiyo kadi ya NHIF kwa maana inatusaidia sana. Kila mtu ajitahidi, ajikaze kisabuni ili waweze kudhibitisha na wao wapate hiyo NHIF. Ndio waweze na mtu akigonjeka juu siku yako kugonjeka na wao upate hiyo kadi, ndio ukipelekwa hospital uweze kutibiwa.
Linda familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
Nabonga na watoi kujua mambo za online, pia na create time wafanye vitu offline. Tungeni gadgets na sites wana use, siwache strangers wapate chance kuabuse.
Nimeshindaje pesa kompe sija participate. Unadai info yangu na ikwe private say. Identity yangu haupati hautumi. Kitu zangu ni zangu na bado nitazishikilia.
Una post story ati ni real news. Mimi sikuwa menye mpaka nione sasa hizo news. Una text online to me tunanifeel. Staki jokes sawa mimi nitakureport for real.
Wazazi, watoi na maithu wetu. Don't be fooled. Get cyber smart and enjoy safe entertainment and education online.
The Communications Authority of Kenya. Mawasiliano kwetu, nguvu kwako.
All right, welcome back. And on this second part, we take you to the campaign trail. Deputy President William Ruto has promised to ensure that by the end of December 2022, every Kenyan will have access to National Hospital Insurance Fund cover if elected president. He said his administration would also pump 100 billion shillings towards creating jobs for the youth and another 50 billion shillings to fund small-scale traders to boost their businesses. Nancy Okwari is back from the Kenya Kwanza tour in Murang'a County and files the following report.
The political battle for Mount Kenya region's votes continued on Wednesday. With Deputy President William Ruto leading the Kenya Kwanza Brigade in campaigns in Murang'a County. They made several stopovers in Kandara constituency before heading to Kenol for the mega rally. Here, the DP promised to focus on youth employment and revival of agriculture sector through improved fertilizer prices and elimination of middlemen.
Ile pesa munakopa kwa mashailok, ile pesa munakopa kwa fuliza. Sasa tutaweka hazina maalum, pesa ya serikali bilioni 50 ya kusaidia hawa wafanyabiashara wa chini. Mimi nawaambia tunaweka pesa ya kutosha, tupunguze gharama ya mbegu, tupunguze gharama ya mbolea na tuondoe mabroka na makatel.
Ruto said he would ensure that by the end of December 2022, every Kenyan is covered under NHIF.
Ili mwananchi wa Kenya asiuze shamba yake tena, asiuze ploti yake tena, asiuze ng'ombe yake tena, asiuze mali yake tena, ati anaenda kulipa bili ya hospitali.
His ally Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi dismissed the competence-based curriculum as strenuous to the parents and teachers.
Tukienda pale tunataka tuweke laini ili mfumo wa elimu ambao utakuweko utaeleweka na wazazi na walimu na wanafunzi na gharama iwe ya kutosha.
Ukizungumza na wanafunzi hawaipendi,
we shall make sure that there is proper consultation in the reforms in our education system.
Sisi chama yetu watu wa mlima ile itaunda serikali ni UDA.
Na tuko na sera mzuri ya kubadilisha maneno ya wakulima. Tuko na guaranteed minimum returns katika hasla. Lakini sasa sisi tumetoka kwa mapango ya vitandawili, tumeingia kwa mpango wa wili. Tunaelewana?
The battle for Mount Kenya continued on Wednesday, with Deputy President William Ruto taking the Kenya Kwanza Brigade to woo voters in Murang'a County, where he promised to improve the economy through improving the agricultural sector, while at the same time providing job opportunities for the young people.
Meanwhile, the United Democratic Alliance will conduct its nominations from the 9th to 16th of April this year. Its National Elections Board Chairman Anthony Mwaura urged aspirants to pay the nomination fee by the 28th of February.
His Excellency, the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, who is our party leader, has personally given his undertaking that the nominations will be free and fair. This means the party has no preferred aspirant and it has not set aside any direct ticket.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
And not a story that will be related or tied to our interview tonight. 6 Jubilee legislators from the Mount Kenya region have vowed to campaign for the Jubilee Party's preferred candidate in the August 9th general election. Speaking at the Ndigwa PCA Church in Kiambu, when they were receiving defectors, the legislators took issue with the Kenya Kwanza Alliance over what they claim is disrespect to the Mount Kenya people by ignoring parties from the region.
Jubilee allied members of parliament have defended the party, accusing those propagating rumors that there are cracks in the party. Led by Kiambu MP Jude Njomo, the legislators received defectors from other parties, among them Gladys Chania, who has been the KANU party coordinator in Kiambu County.
Manifesto that we presented to you. I've been to several meetings where we have discussed this with Wananchi, and Wananchi are very happy about the work that Jubilee government has done.
Kiongozi wetu ni Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, na pahali atatuonyesha kwenda, na tayari kakina kanini wamewaonyesha. Pahali atatuonyesha kwenda, hapo ndio tutafanya nini? Tutaenda. Kwa sababu
lazima nisimame na ile chama ambaye ilinipeleka mbunge, na ile chama ambaye imefanya kazi, ili nikirudi nikiwa mbunge wa Githunguri kazi iendelee.
Chania, who is vying for the Kiambu County Women Representative seat, said that she was optimistic that the party will regain its lost glory.
We welcome others, and even for the position of woman rep, I don't want anyone to feel afraid. I would just tell them, if anyone want to vie with the Jubilee, to come and vie the Jubilee.
And Democratic Action Party of Kenya has officially unveiled its members who will be negotiating for them at the Azimio la Umoja table.
You can be sure you will be very well represented, and no, I have no doubt that we are going to be the next government.
Kuna timu imesimamishwa hapa ya kwenda kunegotiate kwa Azimio. Hiyo timu inafaa mtu mmoja akuwe mwenda wazimu kidogo, mwingine akuwe wa kuomba, mwingine akuwe wa kupoesha.
The team led by former Minister Noah Wekesa have been mandated to champion the party's interest on coalition tables.
Yani ni mtu amezoea mambo ya siasa ya negotiation. Hakuna mtu Kenya anafikia Noah Wekesa.
From 202 mkiona Wekesa yuko hapa ni kuonyesha ya kwamba serikali yuko hapa.
The development comes as the party received new defectors from across the country.
Waachaneni na kule kwingine. Penye Mungu ametupa huko kwingine, alafu ingine hapo, lakini utamu zaidi iko kwa DAP.
Tusingoje tu ati sasa sisi ni watu wa kurusha mawe. Let us ask for this position. They are there. We have all the support that we.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Now, moving on, 3 governors from Ukambani region have rallied locals to back Raila Odinga for presidency in the August 9th general election. Governors Charity Ngilu, Alfred Mutua and Kivutha Kibwana said being out of government has cost the region immensely in terms of development. The trio said time was ripe for Raila presidency, noting that the ODM chief was best suited to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. The leaders urged Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka to join them in Azimio.
Huko wale wengine wanasema tungoje, tutapitia mlango wa nyuma akiingia awe rais wa Kenya. Unataka mlango wa nyuma au mlango wa mbele? Unataka mlango wa mbele. Hivyo sisi tumekuja hapa. Wengine wanakuja wakiwaambia ngojeni, tutawaambia sisi wa Wiper.
Hata president sasa amesema ni Raila, si ndio? Kwa hivyo sasa sisi hatuwezi kupoteza miaka yetu 10 tukose kwenda na yeye na anashinda. Tunataka tukose kura zetu. Tunataka tukose. Na huyu jamaa tunajua kwamba yeye alisema sasa ni 35% ya devolution ya ugatuzi. Na tunajua kwamba ilikuwa 15 na tumeona mambo yale yamefanywa na 15%. Inamaanisha sasa tutafanya maendeleo ya mashinani.
Sisi tunataka pesa zetu ugatuzi, tuletewe pesa hapa. Wakati watu wana pesa, mpango wa social welfare ni kitu kinafanyika. Hata Amerika wana stamps, food stamps. Unapata pesa kwa mfuko kama kijana. Ndio tuweze kusonga mbele katika mikakati ya maisha yetu.
And tonight in our weekly feature, Cinemas and Theatre, Jacqueline Masharia reviews the movie Uradi. Take a look.
The film Uradi focuses on Komu, a young man from a village in Nyahururu who moves to Kenya's capital city, Nairobi, to pursue higher education. Drama soon begins to unfold as peer pressure pushes him to desire a higher life.
It's not exactly what it's up.
To make ends meet, he is involved in petty crimes, not knowing that the allure of quick money is slowly sliding him into the dangerous territories of radicalization and terrorism. Now, turning back becomes a daunting task.
We still have a chance.
Starring Bilal Mwaura, who plays the character Komu, Uradi is a film that highlights the plight of some Kenyans, mainly the youth, who are easily lured into crime, drugs, and radicalization, as well as bringing to focus the enormous amount of hard work and dedication that is put in by the law enforcement.
The whole idea was supposed to teach us and show us about generally how radicalization is and how easy it can be to be radicalized. The other thing is just to show people terrorism is not necessarily about religion or some race. It's just us. The other thing that I also wanted to highlight in the film was to showcase the security agencies in this country, the way they work hard, and sometimes we don't get to recognize, we don't acknowledge them, nobody even knows.
The film is directed and produced by Kangethe Mungai through his production company Kikwetu Productions, the company behind comedy TV shows and films that have received several accolades around the world.
Uradi was a bit different because we really wanted to speak to the people. We felt the need not just to be there as entertainers, but to be able to give you a film that once you've watched the film, you can start that conversation. Uradi is a film that really pushed us out of our normal boundaries. We really pushed ourselves. We had to do things that we prior probably wouldn't or would just assume.
Released in 2020, Uradi also features actors Robert Agengo, Peter Kawa and Shix Kapienga.
As a filmmaker, you really want the best for the film. Like this time around, what we did, I just had a couple of guys that I thought would hack. Then I did a private audition between the few. just to see who is best among them. And then finally, we were able to come up with one. The industry is really growing. When we started, we didn't have these opportunities. It was something else. But the thing is, we need to monetize that. That is the challenge. And hopefully, as we are moving forward, we're going to come up with mechanisms whereby we can be able to monetize it. We've worked very hard to make sure that this industry is remaining to be vibrant, and one of those things is like when we engage government to try and talk to government and see how we can be able to make the atmosphere, the environment conducive for filmmakers, and that is things like licenses. You do realize that film production is quite expensive.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
An interesting review of Uradi there. Just a reminder before we take a breather that tonight on Extra Mile we're hosting the Member of Parliament for Eldas and the Secretary Jubilee Coalition, that is the Honourable Adan, ready with us in the studio. Let's talk a bit about the politics of Jubilee Party and where it is headed. Just about a few months to the general election. I understand it's about under 175 days we will be heading to the election.
To the polls. The countdown continues. Yeah. But before that interview, Betty Kiptum will be bringing you up to speed with the latest in the world of business. Some good news for dairy and coffee farmers, something to look forward to. And of course, Karen Kibet will be taking you through the sports news, then that interview. Do stay with us as we take a break. We're coming back with much more.
Ili kupata skiza tune ya imani yako kwenye simu yako, dial *811*961#.
Imani ni bayana ya mambo yanayotarajiwa, unayaita mambo yasiyokuwepo kama yalipo. Imani ni kuchukua umbo la kitu unachokitamania, ima kwa mbali au kwa karibu. Lakini ijapo katika mambo ya kuhatikia, basi unajibunia mambo hayo mwenyewe. Lingine muhimu ni kuwa iwapo hauipendi barabara
kupata imani yako kama skiza tune, dial *811*961#. Kumbuka ni *811*961#.
The Government of Kenya adopted universal health coverage, UHC, as one of the big four priority agenda, with an aspiration that by 2022, all citizens will have access to quality healthcare services that they need without getting into financial hardships. Don't suffer in silence. Visit the nearest healthcare facility and access affordable healthcare services that are now offered under the universal health coverage benefit package delivered through NHIF. For those who can afford, please remember to pay the monthly contribution of 500 shillings. The government has put mechanisms for assisting those who cannot afford to pay. Register biometrically at the nearest NHIF office. Your family's health matters to us. NHIF. Leave no one behind.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
I'm not going to leave this town until I've made sure that your alleged love doesn't result in Mariella's ruin.
Well, right now, I'm only interested in protecting her.
Well, you better be.
Why are you going there?
I have the whereabouts of the second witness. I was wondering if he's the one that we are looking for.
So what then, boss? Are you gonna let Mariella continue bothering you?
No, I won't let her.
Actually, I'm working on a permanent solution. But this time, I don't need to kill anyone. What is it?
I don't care, because he doesn't love me. He'd do it out of obligation. Stop fooling yourself, Lore.
Put that gun away!
This man is not allowed in here.
I ordered you to put it away!
I said he's not allowed
Put it away! Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Good evening and thank you for staying with the Prime Edition. It's time to do the business. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, insurance claim payouts declined in the fourth quarter of 2021 as underwriters moved to seal fraud and fake claims loopholes in the industry. Data from the Insurance Regulatory Authority shows a total of 180 million shillings was paid by insurers between October and December 2021. IRA says 4,000 claims were settled in the fourth quarter compared to the 15,000 claims that were lodged in the third quarter of 2021.
Fraudulent claims have been an Achilles heel in the underwriting business in the country that involves a complicated racket of rogue traffic police officers, claimants, doctors, among other specialists. According to the Insurance Regulatory Authority, approximately 40% of all insurance claims are fraudulent. Rural Private Hospitals Association of Kenya reports that Kenya loses up to 33 billion shillings to insurance fraud in the medical segment alone due to weak systems and collusion. Fraud has led to a spike in the cost of insurance premiums, leading to a stagnation in the percentage of premiums to the GDP. However, IRA, together with the Association of Kenya Insurance, has been mobilizing players to adopt e-claim processes to minimize fraudulent claims. These have seen underwriters embark on aggressive use of biometrics registration and increased surveillance processes to stem fraud. Latest data from the industry regulator shows that the number of claims lodged dropped to an all-time low in the fourth quarter of 2021. IRA says the proportion of declined general non-liability claims decreased to 0.14% in quarter 4 of 2021 from 0.52% reported in quarter 3 of 2021.
And dairy and coffee farmers are set to benefit from a 2.3 billion shillings funding from Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. The funds, which will be disbursed in form of loans, will see farmers access credit to invest in the value chains to boost earnings.
Agriculture lending constitutes only 4% of the country's total loan book due to what financiers term as high risks involved in the sector. This has seen smallholder farmers grapple with limited financing. Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency has joined organizations extending credit facility to farmers with a 2.3 billion loan facility targeting the dairy and coffee value chains.
Start a process of identifying the right organizations, do capacity building for them to be able to be ready to access the credit.
In the 5-year program, SIDA plans to offer guarantee facility for farmers accessing loans from a select financial institutions.
Will support access to finance to farmer-based organization through commercialized loans, where SIDA is able to provide a credit guarantee.
The credit facility will target smallholder farmers, especially women who form a majority of agriculture labor force but lack collateral to access financing to invest in their farming ventures.
It will not lend directly to women farmers or to youth. We will lend to the farmer-based organizations and the cooperatives, and they will then lend to their own members.
Already, 30 farmers' organizations have been approved to access the credit, ranging between 3 million shillings and 50 million shillings.
Beneficiaries currently have already been identified, they applied, and we have done assessments to identify the right ones which are ready for receipt.
And Kenya could soon have an edible oil manufacturing plant. Following talks between the government and a Russian investor who has expressed interest in setting up the factory. This is among many investment opportunities the government is looking to secure at the ongoing Expo 2020 Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. According to Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina, the Expo 2020 Dubai has raised Kenya's profile as an investment hub in Africa as the country targets to become a manufacturing powerhouse. Now that is where we cap business news this evening, but Karen Kibet is standing by on the other side of the studio to give us the latest in sports. Karen?
Thank you very much, Betty, for bringing us up to speed with the latest in the world of business. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, FKF Caretaker Committee's efforts to have Harambee Starlets play Uganda in the Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier match proved futile after Confederation of African Football (CAF) failed to respond to their request in time. Consequently, the committee has dissolved the team's camp at the Kasarani Stadium. The team, coached by Alex Alumera, was scheduled to face Uganda tomorrow in Kampala and play the reserve fixture here in Nairobi on Sunday. CAF cancelled the match, handing the Ugandan team a direct qualification after a letter written by former FKF CEO Barry Otieno suggested that Kenya was not in a position to play the match. According to FKF Caretaker Committee, Barry has been summoned to appear before Directorate of Criminal Investigation DCI on Monday next week for questioning. Moving on, Independent Elections Kenya, that will oversee the Cricket Kenya elections set for 26th of this month at Kasarani Stadium, has announced that there shall be no nomination fee for the candidates contesting in the upcoming elections. This is according to the Independent Elections Kenya chairperson, Dr. Kenneth Mutuma.
In a statement that was sent to media houses, the Independent Elections Kenya chairperson, Dr. Kenneth Mutuma, said the notice to waive off the nomination fee was issued following rigorous consultations with the Cricket Kenya stakeholders. On March 16, 2021, the Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, appointed the Cricket Normalization Committee to lead an all-inclusive process that would see the return to normalcy in the sport of cricket in Kenya. The committee was mandated to coordinate finalization of the Cricket Kenya Constitution and ensure its validation. It was also tasked with ensuring smooth running of Cricket Kenya's operations and facilitate the election of new officials as per the validated constitution. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Badminton Kenya has started trials to select a national team that will feature in the Commonwealth Games and the All-Africa Games. The Federation's chairperson, Peter Mushiri, revealed that the Federation will select the top 8 players for both men and women in the singles and doubles categories as the Federation's moves the next phase to the trials to Nakuru next month. Mushiri said that after the Nakuru event, the Federation will shift attention to JQuat Open, which will be held in April.
We are preparing. We'll be doing our national trials in April. We will select the top 8 in singles, doubles and mixed doubles events, and they'll be invited here to compete. And depending on the slots that will be allocated for badminton, then we'll be able to choose the final team that will represent badminton.
Currently, I won't say I'm looking at a particular international tournament because I want to train so that I have the right techniques on court so that when the qualifications come in, I can be able to compete more.
Main agenda is to ensure that badminton is accessed by anyone and everyone, irrespective of their economic status.
And that's all we had for you tonight. I'll see you tomorrow with more sports news. My name is Karen Kibet, but the bulletin is not yet over as we take a short break. And after the break, Jacob Kioria will be back with an extraordinary interview for the Extra Mile.
Linda familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
The UHC coverage journey is on. NHIF is working under the guidance of the Ministry of Health in the UHC Step Up, which presents an opportunity to secure Kenyans access to quality health services without suffering financial hardship. So take the bold step today and safeguard your families by enrolling to NHIF to ensure health for all.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Aquila sana yele mako. Inaishi Namanga. Wakati wa games tukikaa tu hapo na wanafunzi wenzangu tukicheza nikaanza kusikia vizuri. Nikamweleza mama. Sasa mama akaniambia mbona ukusemanga? Nikamwambia niliogopa. Nikaenda Namanga hospital nikapima akaona ugonjwa niko nayo. Sasa akasema heri upelekwe Kajiado. Madaktari akakuja kunitibu. Akasema Manda akaniambia utaenda kwa surgery. Walisema iko na group. Nilienda kushughulikia hadi akaenda kutafuta NHIF juu mama tu anakuanga nayo, lakini ugonjwa mwenye nilitibiwa hiyo kadi ilinisaidia sana. Hiyo kama tungekuwa nayo sijui tungetoka hapo lini. Ningependa kuambia serikali waendelee kutuletea hiyo kadi ya NHIF kwa maana inatusaidia sana. Kila mtu ajitahidi na ajikaze kisabuni ili waweze kudhibitisha na wao wapate hiyo NHIF. Ndio waweze na mtu akigonjeka juu siku yako kugonjeka na wao upate hiyo kadi ndio ukipelekwa hospital uweze kutibiwa.
Linda familia na marafiki dhidi ya magonjwa.
Besides, Pinky's not as qualified a wife as you think she is. What did you say? Pinky, you're so beautiful.
You've said that numerous times already.
I'm telling the truth, really.
Jack, Pinky bought this for you. I'm guessing you like it.
Jack, didn't you say you don't like fish?
What do you want, Jenny? You did this on purpose, right? You happy to put me in this awkward situation?
Jenny. Hi.
Jack?
It's time for a conversation tonight, and like I told you, we're speaking to eldest member of Parliament Adan Keynan, who is also the secretary of a Jubilee coalition and is with us tonight. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Good evening, viewers.
Yes. Let's begin, before we talk about Jubilee Party, because you come from Wajir. Today there's been a ruling by the Meru High Court that the governor for Wajir has been reinstated as governor and making null and void the person who was occupying the office of governor, who was the deputy governor to Mahmoud. Your reaction?
We need to understand the way the law works. We have separation of institutional role. Mm-hmm. The MCS did their work, the senators did their work, and the court is doing its work. And therefore, as a country, we must accept the rule of law, and that is actually the basis of constitutionalism. So I have not gone through in details, other than what I have read actually in the social media, what really the whole ruling actually entailed. But I think tomorrow or this evening, late this evening, inshallah, I'll get an opportunity to go through. Mm-hmm. And whatever the court decides is always a process. It's not just something that one can say, this is what has happened with finality. So let's see how things unfold. Mm-hmm. But I just want to appeal to the people of Wajir, wherever they are, that Wajir is more important than any particular individual. Wajir is more important than any political short-term contestation. And therefore, we should live in peace. We shall accept the rule of law. And whatever the outcome, Wajir will rise. Whatever the outcome, the people of Wajir shall remain united. Whatever the outcome, we must all submit to the rule of law and accept to be guided by our own laws.
All right. Quite interesting. Let's talk about your position as the Secretary Jubilee Coalition. There's no contestation. By the time you were taking that position, there were already huge cracks in the Jubilee Party. As it were right now, is Jubilee Party dead or is being resuscitated?
Jubilee is alive, functioning. And Jubilee, for information, is a mass movement. Jubilee is the ruling party. Jubilee has an absolute majority in the current parliament, notwithstanding the challenges of few disgruntled elements actually who are out to rock the boat from within. That is now behind us. Being a democratic party, and I want to take you back to where the president actually said immediately after the 2017 general election, in our first BG, he said he wanted to use his first 4.5 years period for developmental purpose. And therefore, for those of us who wanted to engage in 2022 succession politics, had either to live with his expectation or to completely get out of his political realm. So that reality, actually, at that particular time, many people actually did not accept what the president said. And that is why the group that disagreed were nicknamed the Tanga Tanga team. They went out, yapping, they went out doing so many things. Now, the president, true to his prophecy, true to what he said, and we all feel the same, has done great on different aspects of our development. And the next 6 months, Uhuru, the politician, will lead the country, will lead Jubilee, will show the way, and will act as a true politician. Not as a test tube politician, no, as a true politician, as a product of the Kenyan politics, as a product of our democratic institutions, lead Jubilee and other like-minded parties like the Handshake Group, and ensure that this country, first of all, has a peaceful transition, and also the Jubilee Party and other partners also win the next general election with absolute majority, not at the presidential level, but also at the parliamentary level, at the Council of Governors level, and the County Assembly level. Of course, in a free, fair, and democratic process.
And we'll talk about the election in a few, but walk us typically through the journey of being the Secretary to the Jubilee Coalition. Of course, that came up after KANU formally signed, and also Wiper formally signed an agreement with Jubilee. How has it been like for you, and what have you been doing exactly as a Secretary of that Jubilee Coalition?
Jubilee is a mass movement, and my work pursuant to Section 7 of the Jubilee Party Constitution is to provide synergy and coordination between the party and the houses of parliament. That includes the National Assembly and the Senate. And this is exactly what we have done. You remember before the changes were made, there were all sorts of hula-baloos. The pastoralist communities or the Asal nations were all out in one particular group, and they were doing this. And all that has been demystified. And the results actually could easily be seen even during the time we were voting for the BBI. The results could be seen even right now. And therefore, my work was first of all to make sure that Jubilee as a party, Jubilee as a majority party in the House, Jubilee Party as the governing party, remain true to the expectation of the people of Kenya. And that's exactly what he has done, what we have done. We have continued to pass legislations that are friendly actually to the people of Kenya. We have continued to pass other laws that are because of for posterity, not because of personal aggrandizement or individual gains. We have continued to hold the party. We have continued actually to transact business with our handshake partners and other like-minded parties. And therefore, luckily, Jubilee and KANU have a coalition agreement that has been deposited with the register of political parties. We have also had a working relationship pursuant to the handshake with the ODM. We also have had a working relationship with Wiper and other groups, in small parties or other members actually who are independent. There are quite a number of them actually who are independent. All this has provided the government actually a conducive environment in passing legislations, in formulating policies, and ensuring that Kenyans get value for money in Parliament.
Help us understand, because you talk about, coordinating, issues in Parliament, particularly at both levels of Parliament. Yet politically, now we see Wiper and KANU on one end calling themselves One Kenya Alliance, and then there's Jubilee and Azimio on this other end. Was that agreement just purely on the basis of legislation, or did it involve even, political unity amongst yourselves?
I think you need to understand this. That was purposely for the working of the current Parliament.
Okay.
But as we approach 2022 general elections, parties are at liberty to form new coalitions, to continue with the old coalitions, to come up with other caucuses, and therefore what KANU and Wiper are doing right now is perfectly in order. This is meant for 2022 general elections, and this is the season actually of coalition making. If you go back to the history of this country since the advent of multipartyism, coalition making actually have happened around this time, March, April, sometimes even early May. So this is the season of coalition making, and what they are doing, and I'm glad that notwithstanding our small differences, OCA, of course comprising of KANU and Wiper, I believe at certain stage will be part of the mega coalition that is in the making, the mega coalition that will bring together the handshake group, that is Jubilee and ODM, and also later on, or a certain stage, Wiper comprising of KANU, and OCA comprising of KANU and Wiper. This is what Kenya requires for stability, for tranquility, and also for shared prosperity. And this is exactly what the President and the former Prime Minister, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, have told the people of Kenya, pursuant to the handshake, that this is what they will be pursuing. And this is exactly we as Jubilee have decided to pursue, have decided to invest in, and that is why in our own wisdom we decided not to field a presidential candidate. So that we can also allow somebody from another party to rise to the helm of this country as part of our democratic tradition.
All right, let's talk about the NDC that is upcoming at the end of this month. First of all, we notice you've shared the yellow-black color from the Jubilee party. Now it's almost a resumption to the old TNA, but Jubilee now with a red dove. But when it comes to the particular day of the NDC, is it when that you formally declare that you've severed ties with the Deputy President? Is it one of the agendas of the NDC?
Let me say this. One day in politics is such a long time. And therefore, a lot of things are likely to happen, just like it happened last week. You saw last week a number of things happen. Quite a number of members from different counties changed their position from, or moved from UDA to Jubilee. This week, a number of others have already moved. There's total realignment. And this is exactly what we profess. There's time for politics. There's time for development. And therefore, what we are likely to see, and this is why we are making an appeal to those members who have been misguided, to those members who have been misled, to those members actually who are not sure of their political journey. Jubilee is open. We are inviting them back to the mainstream politics. They understand this, and this is actually in pursuit of what the President said in our first PG. Welcome back home. You will not be punished, and you'll be back home. And I'm sure you'll also be given a conducive political environment to pursue your political ambitions. And therefore, what will happen, for those who will not have read this message, for those who have not listened to this wise counseling, I can tell you, we will not have more time for the political scuffling that we have seen over the years. And therefore, it will be time to say, if you have decided to pursue and promote other political parties' ideology, go in peace. Do it democratically. Leave Jubilee for those who live in Jubilee.
You appear to open the door, saying this is time for political coalitions. But I'm just wondering, are there ramifications? For example, if the NDC, you say, we have formally severed ties with the Deputy President, who is our Deputy Party Leader, or was our Deputy Party Leader. What are the legal ramifications if that were to happen, that you've severed ties, or the Deputy President is expelled from the Jubilee Party?
I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate, but I can tell you for sure that the Jubilee Party that you will see after 25th and 26th February, inshallah, will not be the Jubilee Party that you have known. It will be completely a Jubilee Party that will be rebranded, a Jubilee Party that will be reorganized, a Jubilee Party that completely rejuvenated, a Jubilee Party that will be managed by the individuals truly who believe in the letter and spirit of the Jubilee Party manifesto. And that's why we're saying, Kenya is a democracy. You have every right to disagree with your party, but do it in a civilized manner. Don't have one leg here another leg here. You won't promote your party. You won't also remain a stumbling block to the other people who want to pursue their democratic ideals. This is the bit that we're saying is hypocrisy. This is the bit that we're saying is not acceptable. And therefore, the decisions that the NDC members will make will be final, will be decisive, will be conclusive, and will take the Jubilee Party to the next level of coalition making with like-minded members of, of other political parties, coalition making with other groups who have been supporting Jubilee, coalition making for posterity. And therefore, on that particular day, I don't preempt what the delegate will do, but I can assure you, they have a lot that they will consider as part of their menu, a lot that will come out from that particular meeting, and whatever they say will be final, decisive, and that is what we will use to go into a coalition arrangement with other like-minded groups. That
obviously, the delegates will adopt the new arrangement of going into a coalition, of course, adopt the colors and the symbol that Jubilee Party has adopted now. But listening to the president the other day when he was speaking and listening to leaders like you, a senior in the Jubilee Party, you talk of not fielding a presidential candidate, but you will have candidates in this other elective positions. Does that make you now or throw you into competition with your partners in Azimio? And what does that portend then when you're dealing with your competitors on the other end?
Good question. We said Jubilee has made a sacrifice. Serious sacrifice for the sake of this country. There is one thing that many politicians or many people actually forget. There's something called national interest that transcends our day-to-day petty politics. National interest, and that is the fabric that holds this beautiful country together. And therefore, the sacrifice we have made, the leadership of Jubilee led by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta has made for the sake of this nation is one that historians will come to. People right now might not appreciate. But one time, for those who will be penning the history of this country, at certain stage will say, during the time, in this particular period, when President Uhuru Kenyatta was the President of the Republic of Kenya and the leader of Jubilee Party, the party led by Uhuru Kenyatta made these sacrifices for the sake of the nation. And that will be a very critical chapter in our history. And I believe the next generation, the generations will be part of the transformative agenda that the President has pursued over the last 10 years. Is one that we'll be very proud of. Having said this, politics is about capturing power through democratic means. What we have sacrificed, what we are supporting is a presidential candidate from another party. But we want to retain absolute majority in the House as Jubilee. We will do whatever it takes as Jubilee Party to get as many members of parliament in both houses, as many members of parliament at the Council of Governors, as many members of parliament at the County Assembly. That will be done in an organized, well-coordinated manner with our coalition partners. Meaning, we know this country. This country is divided into regions, this country is divided into zones. We understand the history of this country. Parties have their own strongholds based on the historical, tribal, or regional affiliations. You understand the dynamics. That you go to Nyanza, a particular party is strong. You go to certain parts of Rift Valley, a particular party. You go to Central. That being the case, so what we'll do, we'll do a coordinated, nominations as we approach the entire election period, so that we don't jeopardize the electability of our candidates, either within the Azimio, or as an ODM, or as an OCA, or Jubilee. So this will be well coordinated, and where a particular party has certain regions as a stronghold, that will be respected. In areas where we feel there is need to coordinate, like Nairobi, obviously there will be a lot of coordination. So this is the essence of having that coalition arrangement, and the coalition arrangement will clearly spell out how this is going to be documented. And that's why for those of us who believe truly in the entrenchment of our democratic traditions, in our statutes, or in all the facets of the Kenyan society, passed that critical amendment in the Political Parties Act, and this was meant actually to inject a bit of civility, a bit of respect, other than just a word of mouth. Sometimes that's what I've used. It didn't work actually in Kenya, and this is the first time that this is going to be properly captured actually, pursuant to the Political Parties Act. Properly captured, it's going to be documented, and deposited with the register of political parties. And this is what is going to guide how coalitions actually are formed, how coalition documents are actually prepared, and once they are deposited, how they are supposed to be used as part of our governance structure.
All right, it's quite interesting. You've shed light on a very important question as regards, Azimio, Jubilee, moving forward. Unfortunately, Mheshimiwa, we've run out of time. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. And we hope we can invite you back again after the NDC to go through some of the resolutions that you make at the Jubilee NDC. This is where we put a cap on Prime Edition. Serfine, it's been quite a fantastic 1 hour. What do you think?
Indeed, and great conversation there you had with Mheshimiwa. Really looking forward to this rebranded Jubilee Party and also this new form of conducting nominations courtesy of the amendments to the Political Parties Act. Great things lying ahead for you, and right here on KBC Channel 1 we'll be keeping tabs with the developments on the road to the 2022 general election for you. My name is Serfine Achieng. Thank you so much for creating time to catch Prime Edition tonight. Good night and God bless.
My name is John Jacob Kioria. Have yourself a good night. Obviously up next is reggae. Don't go too far. Keep watching KBC Channel 1 because Kenya is watching.